and it was basically a light little engine where you could make your own flat-walled 3D world kind of Wolfenstein-like games. And so I just got really interested in kind of slapping things together and making my own stuff. And that sort of started the spark, but what really kind of blew it up was then I got into making custom levels for Doom, the first Doom that came out, and making custom levels there. I was like, oh man, and then I really wanted to make my own games from there. And then I did the same thing with Duke Nukem. I made some custom maps, and I just got fed up with not being able to customize as much as I wanted. And so then I really kind of jumped in. I think eventually I found Unity a long time ago, and then I kind of dropped off for a bit. I think I was in end of high school into college, and then I found Unity and Unreal, and I did some in Unreal, and I kind of fell out of love with Unreal and deeply fell into love with Unity, and that's been my home for the last 12 years. And then YouTube, I started the pilgrimage as a blog. It was on WordPress, and it was just I just wanted to share. The whole goal was to share what I am currently learning to make myself a better artist, and then turn around and just share it back with the world and say, here's what I learned today, kind of thing. And I've always had a deep love for teachers. My wife was a teacher for 15 years, and I just love teaching as well. I like to share knowledge. And so from there, it just got to a point where doing the blogs was too clunky and time-consuming and messy, and I thought, if I could just record a video and then put it up somewhere, this would be so much easier. And then I found YouTube, and I thought, all right, I'll try it. I'll just throw it up there, and you can still go back and see some of my original videos have like 26 views. And you go and see, 8 years on, you get to the first Battle Royale video was April 1st, 2017. Everybody thought it was an April Fool's joke. But now it has over 100,000 views. So, it just takes time, and it was a platform to share my knowledge, and that's all it really was. I was never like, oh, I'm going to be a YouTuber, that kind of thing.
What are your favorite videos that you've done?
Oh, my favorite videos, not counting like the not the how much they've been received, but my favorite videos I've really enjoyed. There's a program called Substance Designer, which is node-based software to make patterns and materials, and I really enjoyed the videos I did for that. I enjoyed some of the videos I made for the Battle Royale stuff, doing the recreating some of the Fortnite stuff with the Battle Pass system. It was a fun puzzle to solve. And I've very much enjoyed, there's one particular video on my channel. It's private, but I can, or hidden rather, I can share with you guys a link. One time, I was a crazy person, and over the course of 2 years, completely in secret, I built a Lego game for my wife from scratch. And I wanted it to be a surprise for her. But I wanted to make it look exactly like the current Lego video games. And she loves two things. She loves the Lego games, and she loves cops, both police and the show. So I made her a Lego game where you play as her as a Lego cop chasing down bad guys, and she absolutely loves it. And
yeah, Rich showed me that like a year and a half ago. Or something. Yeah, no,
that
was
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, drop a link to that if you can. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Super
cool.
But yeah, those big projects are a lot of fun. Matt was nice enough to let me work on the Lego game project, and a lot of times he'd be like, "Hey, Rich, I don't know how to do this. Will you do this?" Like, I don't know, like Lego game stuff, like picking up coins and having them like, I don't know. The point is a lot of times I didn't know how to do half the stuff that Matt asked me to do, and he gave me the opportunity to learn, and that was really important, I feel like, because I wouldn't have done half that stuff on my own. I never wake up and say, oh, I'm going to figure out how to, make a sprite go from here to there. But I don't know. But with
yeah.
I
think Rich and I both enjoy. We enjoy solving puzzles. You're given a task of you have to make it do this. Now, how do you do that? And we'll find first we make it work, then we make it pretty. So at first it's going to work, but it's going to be horribly inefficient. And, people who are experienced developers will look at this and go, this is so terribly optimized. I go, I know, but it works. Now I'm going to work on making it optimized. Now I'm going to make it better, but I think we love that. And I've learned so much from Rich. Every day that we do dev stuff, I learn a little bit more about coding. I'm becoming a better programmer every day thanks to his help. And, nobody's an expert in anything really. And there's always more to learn. And I can't tell you the number of times that I'll see a video come up in, like, on Facebook or on YouTube where it's something that I feel like I clearly have a good handle on, and they'll come across as this is a quote unquote newbie tutorial. I'll watch it every single time because I can't tell you the number of times that I have watched a video that I feel like I'm well beyond this as far as my personal skill level, and I always pick up something. It's some little tidbit, it's some button or option that's deeply buried that you didn't know about, because not everybody knows everything, but together we all know everything. So, I might know about an option. Hell, Rich just showed me the day how to do the damn summary inside of C# coding. I was like, oh my God, this is great. Now I can define this, and later you just hover over it. It tells you what it should be. I didn't know that. So I knew the way I do it, and it works, and I move forward. And so every day you learn something a little bit more. And that's the whole point of the pilgrimage I made, to turn around and say, I want to share it back with everybody.
So, Matt, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you are a game developer, you are an artist, but you also have a full-time job that is not in the game industry. Yeah?
Correct. Yeah.
So how did you balance that? Like, how do you still find time to learn game dev and be a game developer while the busy bustle of everyday life?
Yeah, so it's rough. So full time, I am a programmer for the United States Air Force. I'm a contractor. I don't work directly for the Air Force, but I'm a programmer for them. And right now we're in the middle of a shift too. So I'm currently learning things like Python, Terragen. I have a book right here on PowerShell. I'm learning all these new things for work, and then I try to find time as well. So part of it is you need to balance your time, and sometimes, honestly, I'll stay up late if I need to finish something. It's not always the best option, but there are some days where I'll say, you know what, I know I have things that are due, but I'm just going to stop here, and I'm going to just watch some TV or spend some time with my dog, and go to bed early so I can get up in the morning and spend some more time. I've always been the kind of person that I'll get up at 3-4 in the morning and start working, and I'll be doing things, figuring things out, getting the mundane stuff out of the way. Another answer, sadly, is sometimes I get a lot of help. I do sometimes I hire people out to do certain tasks and things, and to help me understand things and to learn things with me. I have several friends who, some of my freelance, I've brought them in on the project and said, hey, I have this great opportunity, and I consider an advantage for one of us and an advantage for all of us. And so I want to share that with them because they're my close friends. They've helped me become to the level I'm at. And so I want to bring them with me when I get a chance to level up. You all should level up too. So I share it with them. And that also helps to lighten the load a little bit. But it also helps that learning process. Again, I have a close set of people that I can talk to and say, hey, if you have a moment, can you help me look at this? I have a question. I want to understand this better. So that helps as well. Also, I have a really, I think the most successful people have a really good, strong support system. I've always been one to say, and this is not meant, there are other types of couples in the world, but, I'm a male married to a female, typical husband-wife scenario. But I've always said that behind every great man is a greater still, a much more patient woman. So, my wife is a big part of my success. She encouraged me early on. She has my back. She encourages me when I have those days where I'm really upset, or I don't feel well, or I'm just angry or whatever. She recenters me to help me keep moving forward. So I have that. I have 2 cats. I have a dog. I have a close family, close set of friends. All that helps to help that support system, so that on my worst day I can still be productive because of them. It's not all me. This is a community thing. Even my personal success I owe to the others around me. In my early days, and even still today, Montessor, John, who's here with us tonight, he was my mentor, kind of quote unquote growing up. especially over the past 10 years or so. We did a game jam together, and he taught me a lot about Unreal, and he's given me a lot of good opportunities and opportunities to grow. And when I first met him, he asked me some of the most basic questions of 3D stuff. It was, how do I make a cube? What is a polygon?
What's a bevel?
Yeah, exactly. But he is, like myself, he's a perpetual student. So he got to work, he put his nose to the grindstone, and now in many ways he's really surpassed me as far as his technical skill. But we're still peers, we're still great friends, and we still, we were just playing Valheim together. We were still very close-knit. And so, the success of one, we share it with the others. And so it's a great community around you, really helps to plus that up, so that when you do have a knockback, a hardship, whatever, you have that strong foundation that keeps you from going too far down to not make progress back up again. So I'm a big proponent of that it's not just me. What you see as the front face of the pilgrimage of my channel is the result of a lot of my hard work, yes, but it's a lot of people behind me too. And so I do try, getting back to part of the original question, how do you balance? So I do have a little bit of advantage right now in that I work days and my wife works nights. So she leaves at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me. So then I have the evening to myself. So some of the things where I work better figuring it out on my own without her around. But then during the day, getting through the work day, it really helps to have, somebody here who can like take the dog out or take the trash out or whatever. I have somebody to work with for those things too. So that helps. And then, you need breaks. You need time to just say, I'm sorry, guys, there's not going to be a video this week because I'm just taking some time. I'm just going to take some time to just play some video games. Sorry. Just once in a while, you need to unwind and you need to just kind of let your hair down, so to speak, and say, I'm gonna give myself an early grave if I don't, take a couple days off here and there so that I can recover, because it is kind of a feverish pace sometimes. I work anywhere from 7 in the morning to almost 10:30 at night, almost every day during the week. I take breaks. I have lunch. I take the dog out. Some days I'll take a nap, but for the most part, it's go go go. And a lot of it is I'm drawn towards it, so I want to do it. But yeah, you do need to kind of recognize, your limits and work within them.
Yeah, well said. That's also good advice for just being a student and having hobbies and stuff. Sometimes you gotta let your hair down. Sometimes you just have to be like, you know what? Maybe I'll turn in a B instead of an A assignment because I don't, because you need that extra mental health.
Oh yeah, I can tell you. My college was I had an accelerated bachelorette, so I got a bachelor's degree in just 3 years instead of 4. So I was in school full time, and I had a full time job to pay for school. And so I was very unhealthy in college because I was not eating well, not sleeping well, and just go go go. But yeah, you do need those breaks because you can burn yourself out easily.
Hey Matt, so like I feel like I aspire for like a growth mindset kind of like you. Like, constantly learning new things and stuff like that. But I find that it's like really hard, or like just like how you were saying, like with burnout, like it's really hard for me to like stay consistent and like, stay on top of learning new skills and stuff without burning myself out, I guess. So how do you like, keep continuously improve your skills while like, making sure it's still fun for you?
That's a great question. Yeah. So part of it is definitely with the burnout is what's hard for me is I'll take a day off, say, and then I'll feel bad about taking that day off. You know what I mean? But I'd rather take one day off rather than get sick or something because I push too hard and then I'm down for a week. So you have to look at the trade-off and kind of make that evaluation and say, is it worth if I just say, hey, I just need a day, and that's better 9 times out of 10 than pushing too hard. As far as learning something new and keeping it fun, yeah, you do reach a point where, like a lot of the stuff that I have to learn now for my Battle Royale videos, because I'm doing networking. So networking, you're dealing with characters moving around, shooting, inventory, dropping out of the plane, physics, bullet drop, all these things. And it's exciting when it works, but when it doesn't work and when you're learning it and when you're doing complicated math, it's not always fun, you know? So I take it in small steps. I try to break it down into broad strokes, then small fixes, you know? And so I tell people this all the time. When you go to build, I have a problem like a lot of people have. I call it the 0 to 100 problem. When you go to set out to say, I'm going to make this awesome thing tonight, I'm going to make this cool inventory system, it's going to work, and I'm going to show a video to everybody before I go to bed. And then by the time you go to bed, you barely made any progress, even though you've been working hard, and you get upset because you set out to say, I'm going to get 100% done, and because I didn't, even if I got 99% done, you feel like you've done zero, you know? So I tell people all the time, when you go to build a pyramid, right? Everybody thinks that a pyramid is nothing but these massive blocks and this huge structure. But a pyramid is also built up of tiny grains of sand. It's all a part of the pyramid. So even if you only do a little bit today, you still made progress on it. You still took steps forward. Even if all you do is open up the file, stare at it, and think, and then save it and close it. You made progress because you started to break down the problem in your mind. You got experience with looking at it, and you got exposure to it. You're less afraid of it the next time. And then sometimes I just open it up. I just make some notes. I play it a couple times. I go, man, this doesn't really work. But I'll take some notes. I'll write some things down, and I'll just save it and quit and go to bed. And at least then I come back in the morning and I have notes to myself. So then I have a little bit of a leg up already the next time. So even that is progress. So when it's complicated, when it's not fun, when it's hard, when you want to put your fist through the screen, A, it's time to take a break, you know, but B, understand that even those moments where you're just so frustrated with it, and Rich can attest to this as well, because I've had him help me with a lot of things where we're working on it and it's just so frustrating, and, you know, be like, okay, you know, we both got to go to bed, whatever, and I'll be playing games, watching TV. I guarantee you, if it's not later that night, it's while I'm sleeping or the next day I wake up and go, I know what it is now. I know what it is, because you stopped thinking about it and you go to do something else and it will come to you. So that consistency plays back to one of our pillars there, is to return to it at another time when you've had some rest from it, when you've had a chance to mull it over. You know, your brain will keep working on it and it'll find the answer. So make sure you take the time to come back to it. Make sure you take the time away from it when you need it, because you know you're getting frustrated or you know it's difficult. And anything worth doing is hard, you know. So if it was easy, everybody would do it. You know, if it was easy, we'd all walk around with brains like Einstein and bodies like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what I mean? But it's not easy. That's why there's not everybody doing that. So when it's hard, it's worth it. But it's worth also taking the time to do it correctly.
That makes sense. Those are very wise words.
I
Yeah, progress.
don't know how wise they are, but that's just from my experience. And that's my opinion as well. So just, you know, take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like, you know, sometimes I'm like working on stuff and like don't make any progress, and yeah, it does feel bad. And then like sometimes I just get burnt out because like I don't feel like I'm making any progress just in general. But then yeah, you're right. Like any progress is progress. Anything that you do helps. So
Even just thinking, I don't know. Sometimes I like when I approach a hard programming problem, sometimes I'll just sit there and think, and like an hour or two will go by, and probably I zoned out for a little bit, thought about other things, but like for the most part, I was thinking about the problem, and it's hard to think like sit there after like a few hours have passed and there's nothing written on the screen, and you're like, oh, I've made zero progress. Well, no, like you've reasoned it, you've thought about it, you've built a better mental model of the problem at hand. Like just because you don't see progress, that doesn't mean there isn't any.
hmm
Matt, what are some of your artistic influences?
Ooh, that's a good question. So one of my favorite artists of all time is MC Escher. I'm a big fan of his work, of the patterns and just the incredible mental fortitude to create these things that are so beautiful and seamless, and just it's fascinating to me. From there, I'm also a big fan of classical art. Like, you know, I love to go to, when I get a chance to go to museums and see all the paintings, and I'm a big fan of fractal art as well. But I'm not a big fan of things like Jackson Pollock, throwing a bunch of paint on a canvas kind of thing doesn't really appeal to me. Not a big fan of modern art with, I think I saw an exhibit where they just had a toilet turned upside down, brand new toilet, just turned upside down on a white concrete slab. I'm like, I don't get it. But, also I do like the, I think a lot of like I can't quite describe it, but the Final Fantasy art style, I like the characters that have these broad strokes of a detail, but then they have fine details as well. But yet, as much as they all look similar, they all are definitely still unique. And that's a very difficult balance to strike. I struggle a lot with the, it's called the 60-40 rule or the 70-30 rule. You're supposed to have 60% of the surface of a model be detail and 40% be just blank space for the eye to rest while looking at this, so that you don't have just detail everywhere. If you have a model that is just pure detail, it's too busy for the eye and it's not as pleasing as a model that has space to rest. A good example of this is if you look at the difference between Master Chief and Warhammer 40,000. Master Chief has a lot better of the 60-40 rule, and Warhammer is like, that rule doesn't exist, just throw detail at it. And, it's not as good for your eyes as, having time for your eyes to visually rest going through a piece. So that kind of thing I appreciate. There's a lot of detail in, Final Fantasy characters and such, but there's not, I never feel like my eyes get tired from looking at that kind of a model, so that kind of thing.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you. So I actually learned something from that. So it's the 60-40 rule, right? Yeah,
and it's not a hard, fast rule. It's something that, older artists, especially like the Disney era artists, will tell you is like, that's they were taught. And like in animation, I've learned from Disney the 12 principles of animation. So I take those things pretty seriously, of trying to learn from the old masters. I'm a big Da Vinci fan as well, of just, here's a guy who was like, I'm going to be an expert in literally everything just because I was told I could not have a formal education. And, that's just fascinating. I love that kind of middle finger to the world. I kind of appreciate. He's like, you're going to tell me no, I'm going to go and do it anyway, And so that was pretty amazing. But yeah, I try to, whatever is good advice from the old masters is always something good to take into the future with you, but also a little grain of salt. And I'm a big proponent of, you're allowed to break the rules once you know what the rules are. But people who create things and go, I'm just doing this dude who has, shoulders the size of a VW Bug, and he's got a sword that's 5 times bigger than Cloud's sword for no good reason. I go, well, you didn't understand the rules to begin with, so then you're breaking them in a way that doesn't make sense. But if you know the rules and then you're breaking them on purpose for a stylistic choice, and it's clear, then it's successful.
So we gotta know the rules first before you break them. Got it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thank you.
Hey Matt, so how'd you get into art stuff?
So I started drawing when I was 3, and I just fell in love with filling the blank page. Creating a world, characters, stories, and my brain was always just overflowing. And I'm embarrassed to say I don't know the author, but I'm a big fan of quotes. You'll see a lot of those. But there was a quote that said, a good artist will always have more ideas than he has time. And so that was definitely true as a kid. I just could not stop coming up with cool ideas and things. And I definitely wanted to just, and wouldn't it be neat if there was this, or if there was a world like this, or if this happened. And so I always thought to myself, what if? And I could never stop, like, what if, what if this? And I would have to draw it or write it down or something. When I was in the end of high school into college, I got this book that was literally a blank book. You're supposed to write in it. And I told my mom, I have this idea for a story. And I started writing, and I filled the entire book. And I went to the store and I bought 2 more, and I filled those as well. Because I just wanted to write everything out about this story that I could. And I have another problem where I'll come up with an idea, I'll write it down, and I'll sit on it for like 10 years, and then somebody does it. And I'm like, I had that idea. Like I have pages that are marked. I think it's circa 1995, where I named one of my characters Tyrion, and then you go and look at Game of Thrones, and it's like, here's a character named Tyrion. I'm like, oh man, that kind of thing. So, but just I got obsessed with just creating, and just I wanted to give birth to things into the world and say, here's this thing. Wouldn't it be cool if this was like this? And just this overwhelming flood of ideas, and I wanted to get them out into the world and onto a page. And from there, I thought, from onto the page, wouldn't it be cool if it was in 3D? And I've always planned on, when I retire, air quotes, to get into sculpting. Just small, you can hold it in your hands, sculpt some characters, do whatever. I'm terrible at it, but I would love to learn how to do it, just because I would want to take what I've done in the computer and do it for real. I think that would be really fun.
That would be really cool. Have you thought about just starting now?
Well, I have sort of. So I started kind of going down my bucket list slowly. I think it was last year or the year before. I got to do blacksmithing for the first time. That was one of the things I've always wanted to do, because that's kind of
really
like
cool.
That's kind of like real world badass 3D modeling. So I made a knife, and actually got a 3,800 degree burn on my arm. But I made a knife, and I was like an old school blacksmith, and it was a lot of fun.
Wow, that's really cool. Wait, did you just like follow a tutorial, or like did you like hit up like a blacksmith?
Yeah. There's a guy so I live in Florida, roughly near Orlando. There's a guy in Georgia who does classes, and you can sign up for a class. And I think there were like 8 of us there that day, and he'll walk you through how to make a knife from scratch.
Oh,
so it was like an all day thing. Like we got there at like 10 in the morning, and I left at like 6 at night. But we made a knife throughout the whole day.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to try stuff like that.
Yeah, that's some real world 3D modeling,
Yeah, real world 3D modeling. That's so sick. Do you still have the knife too?
I do, yeah, right here.
So is that real world?
Say again?
Oh no, sorry about that.
I was just saying you should take a picture and post it.
Sure.
But yeah, Johnny, what were you gonna say?
Is that anything else? My bad.
Oh, okay. Do you like use any or okay, so like say like you're trying to learn something new though, right? Like what do you typically start off with? Like do you look for a person who knows what they're doing to teach you? Do you go straight to YouTube, like start Googling?
Usually, this day and age, I'd say the Google foo is strong, and I would just go right to Google and say anything that I want to learn. Like, for example, one of the things that I want to learn soon with specifically with Unity and with game dev and such is to get better with like pathing with the A-star method, and with learning about how to sort like a path to do. I have I know everybody has, but I have a unique take. I swear, a unique take on a zombie game idea, and I want to have really good pathing zombies that will find their way around obstacles and around barriers and things. And so this is probably 2-3 years out. So I wanted to start learning about better pathing for enemies and such, and that can be applied to any game that has enemies. It doesn't have to just be zombies. But I thought, for that project, that was what spawned the idea. So I've been doing a little bit of research and learning more about A-Star. And I remember a couple years ago I watched a Sebastian Lang video. He's a great YouTuber, brilliant guy who can explain the most complicated subjects in the simplest of ways. And I watched his videos, and he really helped me understand the basic principle of the A-Star methodology, which, fun fact, that's how they used for Pac-Man. The ghosts actually, quote unquote, smell Pac-Man. They actually they look at every spot and say, what is the cost of moving this way towards Pac-Man? And they find the closest available spot that has the lowest travel cost. And they said it works similar to the way animals track by smell. And so the ghosts are typically smelling you, which means any maze, you could even make up a maze, so long as it's traversable and there's not, like a hole where you can get stuck. They can find Pac-Man, absolutely, without a doubt. So, there's that.
Heuristic functions.
I think A-Star is what Unity's nav mesh uses under the hood too.
Yeah, it's based on it. It's not pure A-Star. That they've added some stuff to it, but yeah, it's definitely based on that technology. I posted a picture of the knife too, in case you guys are interested. If that's not acceptable, because I know it is a weapon technically, please, let me know. I'll take it down.
It's a tool. It's a tool.
It looks cool.
It is a tool, and it's very sharp.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
How do you get it so sharp?
So the sharpening is on a grinder wheel, but the rest of the shape is literally you just heat it and beat it. You just heat it up and smack it. And I hurt myself because it was obviously very hot, and it was when I was initially shaping the tip, I hit it down on the top, and if you're not death gripping the metal, it will reverberate. And it reverberated through the anvil, and it bounced up, and it hit my left bicep, and it cut right through my shirt. It burned right through the shirt because it was 2,800 degrees, and I have a permanent mark on my skin.
That's crazy.
So
that'll
happen.
So a good birthday.
You had to go to the doctor, or?
No. Oh no! Please, I just like, ow. I was like, don't do that again. That hurts.
Put some whiskey in it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Splash some water on it.
Go full Rambo.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I feel like this is a good time to do last call for questions and comments. Then, dude, everyone, thank you. Join me in saying thanks to Matt.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you so much for coming.
Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks very much for having me. It's a great honor.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for your inspiration. But for real, thanks for coming.
Yeah, anything I can do, please let me know.
Nice. Yeah. Please post the link to the Polygon Pilgrimage channel, because I think it's a good sister server. Lots of interested learners over there. Lots of people who need some advice, or it's a good learning server for like people to ask and answer questions.
Oh yeah. I'll put that link. Where should I put that link?
If not in general, then share your stuff. Why not?
Okay.
Because that is your stuff.
That is my stuff. That is the core of what I do.
Well, cool. Anything else before we break for the night? All right. Well, guys, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Next week we will do the asset shuffle, so you've got an extra week to work on your small little 1 to 3 hour projects that we do, and then we'll show them off next week.
Oh, hey, Matt, is it cool if I post like the club recording for today?
Oh yeah, please do. Yeah, I was interested to have access to that. If it's all right, I might turn that also into a video that I might put on my channel as well, just to share it forward with people as well.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, sorry,
share that
I missed like the
world.
first 20 minutes, but yeah.
You missed the meat, but you got a lot of the Q&A.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I'm sorry, Matt. I should have recorded it, but it did not cross my mind.
That's all right.
We'll have to be better about that in the future. We'll have a whole archive of the videos.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and also Matt has volunteered to. This was a while ago. To supply some assets for the asset shuffle at some point, whenever we decide to do that. So you might see Matt's handiwork again, and might actually get to play with it.
Yes.
Yeah, I might do like a 3D tile set for you guys. And I will also make it so that you could render it out as a 2D tile set if you guys prefer 2D. I kind of live in 3D, but yeah, I will definitely make it accessible either way.
Awesome. All right, guys. So
Honestly,
I think this
probably
is a
just
good
make
place.
it 3D, so that way we're forced to learn.
True.
Yeah. All of our assets so far have been 2D for no better reason than they just have been.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think this is a good place to break. Thanks again for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Adios.
Later.